Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. In this video, I want to talk about weather in Star Citizen and what we can expect to see initially and then down the line. As always, a huge thank you to all my patrons. It is because of these guys that I get to create videos like this. So if you do enjoy my content and would like to support me even further, from as little as $1 a month, check out the link in the description below. So in a recent article from a German magazine, Senior Technical Director at Star Citizen Marco Corbetta spoke a little bit about this Planet Tech version 4, what it is and what it'll mean for planets in Star Citizen going forwards. Now, as CIG continue to develop the game, they are constantly improving the quality of all areas. One area in particular which is always improving are the moons and planets throughout the verse. This is particularly noticeable if you compare a moon like Daymar, one of the original moons, to one of the more newer moons, which is Lyria around ArcCorp. The texture quality, lighting, level of details as you travel down to the planet, it's a vast improvement from one of the first moons to one of the most recent. Well, the Planet Tech sounds like it's just getting better and better, and at this year's CitizenCon, this Planet Tech version 4 will be revealed in more depth. Now, I expect the majority of this info to be presented in one of the early panels called Terra Firma, which is at 1:30 PM, and it says that this panel explores the continuing evolution of Planet Tech. I think we will also get some cool features on the panel straight after Terra Firma, which is called Micro Technicalities, at 2:30, which will show off the Microtech planet and all the new tech that is gone into creating this planet. So firstly, let's just talk about Planet Tech version 4 and what it'll include when it does drop. One improvement is better transitions from space to planet surface. So the geography of the planet should change less when you approach the planet from space and penetrate its atmosphere. So this means that there will be much less popping in from areas of the planet, something that I find is quite noticeable in the current build and does break the immersion. It doesn't look too great, so the transitions should be smooth and subtle. Next up, we have particles and visual effects which can move along the surface of the planet. In addition, it says dust swirled up by footsteps or ships should then take on the colour of the planet in question. So if you've ever noticed the generic white dust or even just the pixelated placeholders of cloud that sort of kick up whenever you're running along the surface of a moon, well, this will enable the coloration of the dust to match the surface of the planet. Quite simple, but noticeable if it's wrong. Thirdly is the colour change, which depending on which objects are scattered in the area, the colour of the planet changes from a distance. It says that this should make objects that pop up less noticeable as well. Not really sure exactly what this means or what it brings. It does sound like a combination of the first two improvements, but if you do have an idea, do let me know on that one. The next feature, which is probably one of the most exciting, is weather and climate. This planet should receive weather conditions like rain. So this is a biggie. In 3.8, Microtech, and only Microtech to start with, will have weather conditions and climates around the planet. Rain being the one that CIG have mentioned, and if they do it right, it'll just look incredible, hopefully smearing across your ship's windshield. I would also expect to see snow, considering Microtech's climate is cold and harsh due to the terraforming error. And in concepts, all we ever see is ice and snow anyway, so I would expect to see that. Hopefully, if blizzards make it in, it'll be quite difficult to see. It's hard to say how far they have gotten with weather, being the first implementation of this. It could be very rudimentary, sort of version tier 0, but on the other hand, CIG have been known to reveal something knocking it straight out of the park and demolishing all expectations. I'm hoping it's the latter, and we get to see a lot of various weather conditions which change throughout the day-night cycle, meaning that 3.8, even if we're not able to land and explore the new Babbage landing zone, we can at least explore the planet's varied biomes in different weather conditions. Next up, they have atmosphere, improvements to the representation of the atmosphere. Now this means visual effects from the surface looking up, from space looking down and transitioning through to give a more realistic and visually impressive atmosphere. Currently, it's practically just the rudimentary line that you pass through when entering or exiting a planet. It doesn't look all that great at all. I'm hoping this will bring with it the effects on the ship as well, like sounds and shaking, like we've had before, but maybe in a bit more depth. As you're heading maybe into a rain cloud, that would be very cool, giving the feeling of actually entering the planet's atmosphere. We did see on the most recent Star Citizen Live, where they were talking to the audio team in the background, the computer screen was actually flying through clouds, which it looked pretty cool, but it was tiny, so you couldn't really make it out too well. So speaking of which, cloud and fog, the planets receive volumetric clouds and also ground fog. So this will be the clouds in the sky, especially needed for microtech, as this terraforming error produces unusually dense cloud cover, it says. It'll be very cool to look up from the planet and see clouds rather than the beaming sun all the time. Ground fog will just create this eerie layer of atmosphere, and it'll be pretty scary, I'm sure, wandering around planets in thick fog. Great for ambushes, and at night time it'll just be really weird. So basically, that is Planet Tech version 4. That's what it'll bring to the table. It's unsure exactly what weather types we will see, as I say. I would be happy with just rain, maybe snow as an effect, but I do feel like CIG will have a lot more than that up their sleeves, which they will reveal on the 23rd of November. And me personally being an optimist and a very early backer, I'd like to think that it will be more variations than less. I feel that if CIG are ready to not only show us weather, but release it at the same time, then they must have some really exciting effects, and more than just a couple, surely. The types of weather I'd love to see is obviously rain of various extremities, so a light drizzle, showers, pouring, and then torrential. Wind of various extremities as well, so anything from a light breeze just blowing the flags, all the way up to storms and hurricanes. Snow which settles and creates a physical covering that leaves footprints and drifts. Also blizzards which make it white out and extremely dangerous to walk in it, let alone fly in it. Something that I read in the monthly report for the Persistent Universe is that they're designing a biome accumulation system for snow, frost, dirt, mud and dust. So this is likely going to come hand in hand with weather, hopefully at the same time, in which whatever the weather type, it builds up and accumulates over time. So if it's snowing, you will start having more and more deep snow. And the same goes for mud and dust and so forth. So hopefully this will come at the same time, but this could be something that might come after the first implementation of weather. Other ones I'd like to see is thunder and lightning or other storm types, like things like even electric storms and things that we don't really see on a regular basis. The thought of seeing heavy storm clouds rolling in from a distance and bringing the mayhem would be so cool. Something that Chris Roberts has said that they would love to achieve, but I wouldn't expect it for the first initial introduction of weather. Weather formation is viewable from space, so as you approach the planet, you can see the weather forming over the land and as it moves around the planet as well, sort of storm chasing. But other types of weather that we could see, I like these electrical storms that we saw in Squadron 42, the sandstorm that we saw in the early procedural planet showcase. There is so much diversity out there that they could do, and I'm sure they plan to bring it all, but for the first implementation, who knows? One thing is for sure though, once we do get weather tech in for planets, the game will likely feel very different when travelling around planets. No longer will it feel static and bland. Flying through a rainstorm as you come into land at Lorville and seeing and hearing the thunder and lightning as you're walking through the streets of ArcCorp will really just add to the level of realism and atmosphere to planets, bringing them to life. Not to mention any gameplay implementations they bring, maybe having to land and approach on foot or in a vehicle because the weather conditions prohibit you from flying. It opens up that corridor as well. Now to finish off with, they say that one of the main aims for getting this tech together is to eventually be able to create a planet as complex as Earth. With the sheer diversity of Earth, they need huge amounts of terrain, weather, biomes, and all the other assets that they can scatter throughout the planet. It's a big job, but the more they create, then the more options they will have for producing that diversity and rich environment that we have become accustomed to with this game. Personally, I've always been super hyped to see microtech. Ever since I saw John Carpenter's The Thing, the thought of a hostile environment calls to me. But now we know that we're getting weather effects on top of a planet in 3.8, my hype is through the roof and I cannot wait to see the planet and all the new planet tech at this year's CitizenCon on the 23rd of November. I will be there, so if you are going, do say hello. The thought of your ship being grounded due to a severe blizzard and you having to take shelter planetside, and then the potential of something happening and you have to survive until the blizzard lifts is a scenario I hope to find myself in one day. But with that said, be sure to let me know what excites you most about weather and what types of weather you're most excited for. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Star Citizen content. Like the video if you are excited to see weather on planets. Hit me up on twitch.tv/supermacbrothers and come and chat with us live. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.